As the first week of July 2025 begins, a time marked by remembrance, reflection, and quiet gratitude, we pause to honor lives that transcended boundaries. From pulpits and stadiums to stages, studios, classrooms, and council chambers, these individuals lit up their worlds in ways both seen and unseen. They came from different paths, spoke different truths, and yet shared a common thread: the courage to live fully, love deeply, and leave something lasting behind. Today, we remember not just names or achievements, but the spirit, dedication, and grace that shaped these remarkable lives. In their journeys, we find echoes of resilience, whispers of inspiration, and the silent strength that continues to guide those left behind. Let us reflect together on the legacy of those who now rest, but whose light endures. Samuel G. Bonasso's vision shaped not just roads and bridges, but the very ways communities connected. As an engineer and entrepreneur, he believed that infrastructure wasn't just concrete and steel. It was a living testament to human ingenuity and cooperation. His career was distinguished by innovations in transportation systems and civic design, and his work left an indelible mark on cities and towns across America. Even as he battled Parkinson's disease later in life, Sam's determination never faltered. His legacy is paved into the streets we travel, and the lives made better by his commitment to building something lasting. Billy Hunter's story is written into the history of America's pastime. As a slick fielding shortstop for the St. Louis Browns and Baltimore Orioles, he brought grit and grace to the diamond. But his contributions didn't stop when he hung up his glove. He transitioned into management, leading the Texas Rangers and mentoring countless players along the way. Baseball was his lifelong love, and the game was richer for his presence. His name may not always be in headlines, but in the dugouts, clubhouses, and memories of those who knew him, Billy Hunter remains a legend of the game. Bishop Carl Mengling devoted his life to spiritual leadership, shepherding the faithful of Lansing with compassion and conviction. Ordained as a priest and later appointed bishop, he served with quiet dignity, tending to both the spiritual and earthly needs of his community. His tenure was marked by a deep concern for social justice, education, and the welfare of his parishioners. Even in his final years, he remained a figure of faith and humility, a reminder that true leadership begins with service. Rudy Silbaugh believed in the power of public service to change lives. Throughout his career, he championed his constituents with a steadfast commitment to fairness and progress. He understood that politics was not about personal ambition, but about collective good, about building opportunities for others. In town halls and legislative chambers, Rudy's voice was one of reason and resolve. His work continues to resonate in the policies he helped shape and in the lives he touched. Jimmy Swaggart was a man of enormous talent and complexity, a preacher, singer, and founder of an evangelical empire that reached millions worldwide. His fiery sermons and gospel music inspired countless hearts, filling churches and airwaves for decades. Swaggart's ministry was not without controversy, but through it all, his message of redemption and faith remained central to his life. Beyond the pulpit, his music, rooted in soulful devotion, echoes still. His passing marks the end of an era in American evangelism, yet his influence lives on in the countless souls moved by his words and songs. David Lipsey, Baron Lipsey, bridged the worlds of journalism and public service with wit, insight, and integrity. As a journalist, he penned sharp, thoughtful commentary that illuminated the political and cultural currents of Britain. Elevated to the House of Lords in 1999, he brought that same clarity of thought and sense of justice to his role as a life peer. His speeches, writings, and quiet advocacy shaped public debates and offered guidance in tumultuous times. David Lipsey's legacy is one of words wielded wisely and a life spent in pursuit of truth. Sheila Cameron stood at the intersection of law and morality, serving as the Dean of the Arches, the senior ecclesiastical judge of the Church of England, between 2001 and 2009. Her tenure was marked by wisdom, grace, and a determination to uphold the principles of justice while maintaining compassion of faith. Sheila believed in the power of words and reason to resolve even the thorniest disputes. Beyond the courtroom, she was a mentor to many young lawyers, especially women entering a field that she herself had helped make more accessible. Her legacy is written not only in legal decisions, but in lives inspired by her example. Charles Chadwick's voice was one of quiet brilliance. Though he worked much of his life in the civil service, his literary gift found its flowering later in life, proving that creativity knows no deadline. His novel It's All Right Now, published when he was already in his 70s, struck a chord with readers for its delicate exploration of ordinary lives and the complexities of human emotion. Charles showed us that every life is worth chronicling, that even the seemingly mundane can carry great meaning. His passing reminds us to cherish the written word and the courage it takes to share it. Gerald Harper graced both stage and screen with poise and charisma. Known for leading roles in British television classics such as Hadley and Adam Adamant Lives, and for his part in the iconic film A Night to Remember, he brought to life characters that became beloved across generations. With his commanding presence and twinkle of mischief, Gerald charmed audiences and colleagues alike. Beyond the lights of theater, he was known for his kindness and mentorship to younger actors, embodying the very best of his craft. David O. Dyke's ministry was a beacon of faith for thousands. As a Baptist pastor, he dedicated his life to preaching the gospel and serving his congregation with love and steadfastness. His sermons, rich in scripture and relevance, inspired countless lives to walk closer with God beyond the pulpit. He was a counselor, a friend, and a voice for community engagement, believing that faith finds its fullest expression in service to others. His passing leaves behind a congregation and a world forever touched by his faith and warmth. Peter G. Engelman wove tales that blended his English heritage and his American experience into compelling narratives. His novels and literary essays explored the human condition with wit, tenderness, and an unflinching eye for truth. Beyond his writing, he was a mentor and teacher, fostering the next generation of literary minds. His work reminds us of the enduring power of story to connect and heal. Buddy Guys carried his love of football into every team he coached, leaving an indelible mark on the NFL as an assistant coach with the Dallas Cowboys and Green Bay Packers. Known for his meticulous preparation and ability to inspire players, Buddy was more than just a coach. He was a teacher, a motivator, and a steady hand during the chaos of the game. Off the field, he was admired for his humility and good humor. His losses felt deeply in locker rooms and hearts alike. John C. Harris dedicated his life to preserving and advancing American equestrian excellence. As owner of Harris Ranch, he became one of the most respected breeders in the country, producing champion racehorses and promoting the dignity of the sport. His love of the land and its creatures was evident in everything he did. John's passing left behind not just a ranch, but a legacy of care, stewardship, and grace. Sophia Hutchins lived with remarkable poise in the often turbulent intersection of media, business, and activism. Known to many from her appearances on I Am Kate, she worked tirelessly behind the scenes as a talent manager and charity executive, advocating for LGBTQ+ rights and mental health awareness. Her untimely death in a tragic traffic collision cuts short a life of ambition and compassion. Sophia's story is a reminder to cherish each day and honor those who fight for others, often at great personal cost. Neil Justin was both a public servant and an educator, a rare blend of intellect and practicality. Serving in the Arizona House of Representatives in the mid-1960s, he brought a thoughtful, principled voice to politics. As a professor, he inspired countless students to engage with public issues critically and compassionately. Neil's life exemplified the idea that the pen and the vote can both be mighty forces for good. Douglas Loeffler served the people of Florida with integrity and quiet conviction. His tenure in the Florida House of Representatives during the early 1960s was marked by a deep commitment to education and local development. He believed that governance was about creating opportunities for everyone, and he carried that belief beyond politics into a lifetime of community service. His passing marks the end of a chapter in Florida's history, but his principles endure. Dan Siegel was a champion for justice, dedicating his career to civil rights, labor law, and social equity. Whether in courtrooms or community meetings, he stood fearlessly for those without a voice. Known for his keen intellect and fiery advocacy, he reminded us all that the law is not just a set of rules, but a tool for fairness and change. Dan's tireless efforts helped shape more equitable policies, and inspired countless young lawyers to follow his path. Francis Bell devoted his life to public service in his beloved South Carolina. Elected to the state senate in the early 1980s, he became known not just for the laws he helped pass, but for the way he listened, truly listened, to the people he served. He focused his energy on education, ensuring that children in even the smallest towns had access to opportunities, and on community development, helping bring jobs and hope to places long forgotten. Francis approached politics not as a path to power, but as an opportunity to build bridges and improve lives. Long after leaving office, he continued mentoring young leaders, volunteering in civic projects, and speaking at town halls, proving that leadership is a lifetime commitment. His story reminds us that the best public servants are those who never forget where they came from. Billy Hunter's story is woven deeply into the tapestry of American baseball. From his early days as an infielder with the St. Louis Browns and Baltimore Orioles to his tenure as manager of the Texas Rangers, Billy brought grit, grace, and knowledge to America's pastime. He knew the highs of victory and the quiet lessons of defeat, always carrying himself with humility and wisdom. Known for his sharp instincts on the field and steady hand in the dugout, he helped guide countless players through their own careers, embodying the very spirit of mentorship in sports. Even into his later years, he remained a beloved figure in baseball circles, often seen at ballparks sharing stories, signing autographs, and offering advice. His passing marks the end of an era, but his lessons and love for the game will echo in every crack of the bat and cheer from the stands. Michael Madsen was a singular presence in American cinema, a brooding, magnetic actor whose performances often define the films he graced. Known for unforgettable roles in Reservoir Dogs, Kill Bill, Volume 2, and Donnie Brasco, he brought to his characters a raw, unpredictable energy that made him unforgettable. Off-screen, Michael was also a poet, a photographer, a father, an artist in every sense of the word. Friends and colleagues described him as deeply sensitive and unafraid to wrestle openly with life's hardships. He wore his scars with honesty and turned his own pain into performances that spoke to millions. His career spanned decades, and his impact on Hollywood was profound, not only because of his talent, but because of his willingness to show the messy, complicated humanity that lies beneath the surface. Stephen Vaughn Sr.'s life was a complex tapestry of ambition, controversy, and impact. As an owner of clubs like Barrow and Chester City, he brought investment and visibility to English football at levels often overlooked. He was a businessman who knew how to seize opportunity, and a sportsman who understood the heartbeat of the fans. Yet his tenure was not without legal troubles and hard lessons, reminding us that leadership can sometimes walk a fine line between triumph and misstep. For many, he was a figure who stirred strong opinions, yet undeniably influenced the clubs and communities he touched. His passing offers a moment to reflect not only on his achievements, but also on the deeper questions of how passion and power shape a legacy. Gordon Yago's name is etched into the heart of football history. As a player for Charlton Athletic, he showed grit and determination on the pitch. Later, as a manager for Queens Park Rangers and the Dallas Sidekicks, his visionary approach shaped not just teams, but the very culture of the game. He was a mentor to countless young players, teaching them that football was not only about winning, but about teamwork, resilience, and respect. Even far from the field, he championed the sport, helping to grow its popularity in the United States. Gordon's love of the game never dimmed, and his legacy shines brightly on both sides of the Atlantic. Kevin Riddles thundered onto the heavy metal and rock scene with raw energy and soulful depth. As bassist and keyboards for bands like Angel, Witch, and Titan, he brought a haunting quality to the music, weaving unforgettable lines into songs that would become anthems. Fans admired him not just for his musicianship, but for his generosity of spirit. Always approachable, always eager to share a laugh or story, he showed that even the loudest music could come from a gentle heart. Kevin's notes still echo in arenas, headphones, and hearts, a melody that refuses to fade. Richard Greenberg was a craftsman of words, a playwright whose stories reached into the cracks of the human condition and pulled out something true, raw, and beautiful. In plays like Take Me Out, Eastern Standard, and 3 Days of Rain, he explored love, loss, identity, and redemption with wit and tenderness. He didn't just write characters. He created mirrors for audiences to see themselves more clearly. Critics called him brave, actors called him inspiring, and audiences called him unforgettable. His words will continue to illuminate stages and hearts long after the final curtain. Bobby Jenks stood tall on the mound, a towering closer with a blazing fastball and an even fiercer will. In 2005, he helped deliver the Chicago White Sox their long-awaited World Series victory, cementing his place in baseball history. But beyond the glory, Bobby faced personal trials with the same grit he showed on the field, battling injuries and hardships with courage and grace. Fans admired his fire, his honesty, and his refusal to quit. Even after the cheers faded, he continued to inspire others with his story of resilience, a reminder that true champions fight every day, on and off the field. Mark Snow composed more than music. He composed atmosphere, emotion, and memory. His eerie and iconic theme for The X-Files became an anthem for mystery lovers worldwide, while his scores for Smallville and Blue Bloods wrapped stories in emotional depth. Mark's work showed how music can elevate a narrative, turning simple scenes into unforgettable moments. He worked tirelessly behind the scenes, shaping pop culture in ways few fully realized. Even now, his haunting melodies linger, a soundtrack to the imagination. Young Noble lived and rhymed with unflinching honesty. As a member of the legendary Outlaws, he carried forward a message of Tupac Shakur, giving voice to pain, struggle, and survival in the face of adversity. His lyrics were not just verses. They were testimonies of a life lived on the edge yet full of meaning. His untimely death is a sober reminder of the pressures fame can impose. But his voice remains, a rallying cry for those who feel unseen, unheard, and unbroken. Jonathan had devoted his life to exploring the deep connections between humanity and nature. A pioneering ethnobotanist and chemist, he was fascinated by the ways plants have shaped culture, spirituality, and healing across time. He helped popularize the term entheogen, framing psychoactive plants as sacred tools rather than mere substances, a radical and compassionate perspective that influenced scholars, seekers, and scientists alike. Through his books and lectures, he encouraged people to view the natural world with wonder and respect, bridging the gap between science and spirit. Jonathan's curiosity and wisdom opened countless minds to mysteries and beauty of the earth, and his ideas will continue to inspire those who search for meaning beyond the ordinary. John A. Sabatini's career was rooted in love for his home state of Rhode Island and its people. Serving in the state senate for over a decade, he became known as a fierce advocate for workers, families, and fairness in government. He believed that every citizen deserved a voice and that elected officials had a duty to listen and act with compassion. Throughout his career, he fought for policies that improved the lives of ordinary people and strengthened the bonds of community. Even after leaving office, John remained an active force in local causes, always ready to lend his wisdom and energy to projects that helped others. His life was a testament to the idea that true public service extends beyond titles and terms. It is a lifelong calling. J. Wade Gilly believed in the transformative power of education. Born with a deep curiosity and a drive to improve access to learning, he rose to become president of two major universities, Marshall University in West Virginia and the University of Tennessee System. As Virginia's Secretary of Education in the late 1970s, he worked to expand opportunities for students and improve the quality of schools across the state. His leadership was marked by vision, pragmatism, and a heartfelt belief that every young person deserved a chance to rise through knowledge. Even in retirement, Wade continued to mentor students and young educators, leaving behind a generation inspired by his example. His legacy lives on in the countless lives he touched through his tireless advocacy for learning. William Hogue served his constituents with integrity and steadfast dedication. As a member of the California State Assembly in the 1990s, he championed policies to improve public safety, support families, and strengthen communities. Known for his approachable manner and willingness to listen, he earned respect on both sides of the political aisle. Colleagues remember him not only as a legislator, but also as a man of principle who never forgot the people he represented. After leaving office, William remained active in his community, volunteering and advising others on civic engagement. His story reminds us that leadership is not just about power, it is about service, and the quiet courage to stand for what you believe is right. Lifelong calling. Ed Fiore's journey to the world of professional golf was a testament to perseverance and quiet confidence. Born in Texas, he took up the game with an intensity that belied his easygoing smile. Over the course of his career, Ed won 4 PGA Tour events, most famously defeating a young Tiger Woods at the 1996 Quad City Classic, a victory that would become part of golf lore. His swing was graceful yet powerful, his demeanor unassuming yet determined. Off the course, Ed was admired for his kindness and humility, always willing to share advice or encouragement with fellow players and fans. Even as he battled cancer later in life, he carried himself with dignity and courage. Golf was more than just a sport for Ed. It was a way to connect with people, to feel the rhythm of nature, to test himself against the wind and the greens. His legacy endures in the countless moments he created, both on and off the course. Ian Kahn's love for speed was evident from the moment he first sat behind the wheel of a kart as a young boy in Britain. That love grew into a career that took him from local circuits to the international stage. Known for his precision, bravery, and sportsmanship, Ian competed in various racing series, earning respect from teammates and rivals alike. On the track, Ian was fearless, navigating sharp turns and roaring straights with almost poetic control. Off the track, he was approachable and generous, always eager to mentor younger drivers and share his deep knowledge of the sport. To Ian, racing wasn't just about winning. It was about pushing the limits, finding that perfect line, and feeling alive in the rush of the moment. His name remains etched in the hearts of motorsport fans who watched him turn laps with both skill and soul. Mosi Burks' voice was a beacon of faith and joy, a sound that rose from the depth of her soul and carried heavenward. As a lead singer for the Mississippi Mass Choir, she electrified audiences with her raw, soulful delivery, bringing to life the deepest emotions of gospel music. Her story began humbly in Mississippi cotton fields, where early hardships gave her an unshakable faith. That faith became her strength, and her music became her ministry. Reaching across pews, across generations, across racial divides, her performances weren't just concerts. They were communal experiences of hope and healing. Even in her later years, Mosi would walk onto stage, her presence commanding yet humble, her voice still soaring with power. Fans remember her not just as a singer, but as a mother figure, a teacher, and a true servant of God. Long after the final chorus faded, her songs still echo in the hearts of all who heard her sing. Edward Lusick served the people of Pennsylvania with quiet steadfastness and dignity. Over more than 2 decades in the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, he advocated for his constituents with integrity and vision, always putting people above politics. He championed education, ensuring children in small towns and big cities alike had opportunities to succeed. He fought for veterans, honoring those who served. He worked to strengthen public safety, believing that communities thrive when they are safe and supported. Colleagues recall Edward walking the halls of Harrisburg with a ready smile and a willingness to listen. To him, leadership wasn't about fame, but about showing up every day, doing the work, and leaving the state a little better than he found it. Even in retirement, he mentored young leaders, teaching them that real power lies in kindness and persistence. Pettis Norman's life was defined by grit, grace, and courage. On the field, he was a formidable tight end, playing for the Dallas Cowboys and later the San Diego Chargers. He was a quiet leader in the locker room and a reliable teammate whose consistency earned respect across the league. But Pettis' greatest victories came off the field. Growing up in the segregated South, he understood the barriers placed before him and worked tirelessly to dismantle them, not just for himself, but for all who came after. He used his platform to speak out for civil rights, to create opportunities for others, and to remind the world that sports can be a powerful force for unity. Even decades after his final game, Pettis remained deeply involved in his community, mentoring young athletes and advocating for fairness and justice wherever he saw a need. His story is one of using every ounce of strength, not just to win games, but to change lives. Jewel Tace Williams was a pioneer of inclusion, transforming her life's work into a safe haven for so many. As the founder of Jewel's Catch One, a legendary Los Angeles nightclub, she created more than just a venue. She created a sanctuary for LGBTQ+ people and people of color during a time when acceptance was rare and prejudice was rampant. On any given night, her club pulsed with music, laughter, and freedom, giving countless people a place to simply be themselves. But Jewel didn't stop there. She opened a health clinic to address disparities in care, mentored young activists, and fought tirelessly for equity and justice. Those who knew her say she radiated love, strength, and courage, never afraid to confront injustice head-on. yet always with warmth. Her life's work reminds us how one person's vision and bravery can change an entire community for the better. Wayne Dobson brought wonder to the world. Rising to fame in the 1980s as one of Britain's most beloved magicians, his quick wit, charming presence, and dazzling illusions captivated audiences on television and stage alike. Even when diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, a condition that would have silenced lesser spirits, Wayne refused to let it define him. He continued to perform, often from his wheelchair, proving that magic lives not in the hands but in the heart. His story is a testament to resilience and joy, to the idea that even in our struggles, we can still inspire awe and delight in others. Generations of young magicians looked up to Wayne not just for his tricks, but for his unwavering belief that anything is possible. Norman Tebbit was a towering figure in British politics, a man of conviction and determination. Serving under Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, he held several key positions, including Secretary of State for Employment and Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster. Known for his sharp intellect and unflinching honesty, he was both respected and controversial. Never afraid to speak his mind, even when his views stirred debate. After surviving the Brighton Hotel bombing during his time in office, Norman became a symbol of strength and perseverance. Continuing his public service with courage, he leaves behind a complex but significant legacy, one of resilience, leadership, and an unyielding belief in duty to country. His story is a reminder that history is shaped not just by consensus, but also by those willing to stand firm in the face of adversity. Today, we remember and honor a powerful constellation of lives, each with a legacy woven through faith, music, sport, service, storytelling, and leadership. From sacred altars to global arenas, from typewriters to theater lights, these men and women moved hearts, shaped minds, and built bridges across time and culture. They were mentors, fighters, visionaries, and artists. Some made us cheer, others made us think. Many quietly made the world better in ways that will never be forgotten. As we reflect on their stories, we carry forward their courage, creativity, and conviction. Their chapters may close, but the light they sparked still burns in the lives they touched. May they rest in peace, and may their legacies remind us all to live with purpose and to honor the time we're given.